In this section, we're going to talk about dividing polynomials, and some of the time we have to use long division. Anytime that you have a binomial that you're dividing by, you're going to use long division if the numerator cannot be factored. Sometimes it can, but in this section, I'm going to teach you long division either way. So when you're dividing by a monomial, you can work this out differently. So for example, in 1a, 4x squared minus 18x, if I'm dividing by 2x, I can put that over each term and simplify. Okay, so in this case, I would get 2x minus 9, and that would be my answer because I'm just simplifying each of those fractions. In 1b, I've got 2y squared minus 3y minus 9, and I put each of those terms over 3y, and I simplify. So this would give me 2/3, and then I've got one more y in the numerator than in the denominator. Then minus 3y over 3y is just 1, and then minus, I'm going to simplify. So 3 can go into 9 3 times, and I still have that y on the bottom. So that is my answer. Now you can only do this when you're dividing by a monomial. But number 2, when you're dividing by a binomial, this is where long division comes in. Okay, so we're going to say r plus 3 can go into 2r squared plus 5r minus 3. Okay, so this is how you do it. You only look at the first term. What do you need to multiply to the r to get 2r squared? What do you need to multiply to r to get 2r squared? Notice I'm not saying anything about the other terms. I would need a 2 and an r. Now, I'm going to multiply the 2r times this binomial. So 2r times r is 2r squared. 2r times a positive 3 is a positive 6r. Now I'm going to subtract just like you would in normal long division. 2r squared minus 2r squared goes away. 5r minus 6r would give me negative 1r. I'm going to drop down the negative 3. Okay, now I'm going to say, what do I need to multiply to r to get negative 1r? I would need a negative 1. So then I'm going to multiply negative 1 times this binomial. So negative 1 times r is negative 1r. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. I'm going to subtract. Negative 1r minus a negative 1r would go away. Negative 3 minus a negative 3 would cancel out. So I get 0. So my answer would be 2r minus 1. Now I want to show you, so that's it, but I also want to show you if I factored this. So watch, if I have 2r squared plus 5r minus 3 divided by r plus 3. So this is kind of going back to what we did in the last section. It will give me 2r and r, 3 and 1, positive and a negative, over r plus 3. My r plus 3's would cancel out. Now I just get 2r minus 1. Now I know what you're saying. Well, let's just do that every time because that's a whole lot easier. But you can't always factor that numerator. That's why you have to learn long division. So in this problem, we have x squared plus 7x minus 15 divided by x minus 2. So again, we're just looking at the first terms. So what do I need to multiply to x to get x squared? I would need another x. Now I'm going to distribute that x to this binomial. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. I'm going to subtract that. So x squared minus x squared is 0. 7x minus a negative 2x would be 7x plus 2x, so 9x. Drop down that negative 15. What do I need to multiply to x to get 9x? I would need a 9. Now I'm going to distribute that 9 to this binomial. So 9x minus 18. When I do that and I subtract this, I would get 9x minus 9x is 0. Negative 15 minus a negative 18 would be negative 15 plus 18, so 3. Now I have a remainder. So it's a positive 3, right? So I'm going to put plus 3 over this x minus 2 that had divided everything by. So I get x plus 9 plus my remainder of 3 over x plus 2. I'm sorry, x minus 2. And that is my answer. And then I got the x minus 2 from right there. Now, here's why we use long division again. If we tried to factor, and I had x squared plus 7x minus 15 over x minus 2. Let's think about any factors of 15. So factors of 15, I've got 1 and 15, I've got 3 and 5. None of those factors are going to make this positive 7 in the middle. Okay, that is why this numerator is not factorable. That is why I have to do long division. All right, in this problem I have 3x plus 90 divided by x minus 3. So what do I need to multiply to x to get 3x? I need a 3. So then I'm going to multiply that 3 times this binomial. So when I do, I get 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. When I subtract that, 3x minus 3x is 0. 90 minus a negative 9 would be 90 plus 9, so 99. So a positive 99 is my remainder, so I'll put that over the x minus 3, and that is my answer. Again, this is one of those problems that you just can't divide by factoring, because if I divided the numerator, I would just get 3 times x plus 30 over x minus 3, and you see there's nothing you can do there. That is why we have to do long division. So this is the last problem in this section, and it's very important. So I want you to see in x cubed minus 34x plus 45, I am missing an x squared. I do not have an x squared. So anytime we're missing, like we go from 3 to 1 to no variable, we have to count down 3, 2, 1, 0. So if you're missing an x squared, or any x for that matter, you have to plug it in. So when I set up my division problem, I'm going to write x cubed plus 0x squared minus 34x plus 45. You have to do that or your whole problem will be wrong. It'll just be really weird. Okay, now, what do I need to multiply to x to get x cubed? I need 2 more x's, or x squared. Now I'm going to distribute that to this binomial. So x squared times x is x cubed. X squared times negative 5 is negative 5x squared. See, that's where you would run into a problem if you didn't put that 0x squared there, because there would be no placeholder. All right, if I subtract this, x cubed minus x cubed is 0. 0x squared, 0x squared, minus a negative 5x squared would be just 5x squared. I drop down this negative 34x. So what do I need to multiply to x to get 5x squared? I need a 5x. Now distribute that 5x to everything. So I get 5x times x is 5x squared. 5x times negative 5 is negative 25x. So when I subtract that, I would get 5x squared minus 5x squared is 0. Negative 34x minus a negative 25x, or negative 34 plus 25 is negative 9x. Drop down that 45, so plus 45. What do I need to multiply to x to get negative 9x? I need a negative 9. All right, so negative 9 times x is negative 9x. Negative 9 times negative 5 is plus 45. If I subtracted, I would get 0 as my remainder. So my answer is x squared plus 5x minus 9, and I have no remainder.